All right, so here's the trade on S&P today. I'll go back over it in replay mode. Here's the trend criteria for it. And we're looking at two things. One, we're looking at the power trader indicator, which is on the bottom of the chart. The three bars are the 15-minute time frame is the top bar, the middle bar is the 1 hour, and the bottom bar is the 4-hour time frame. So why do we want to watch the higher time frames? Well, if we can trade in the direction of the higher time frames, it should give you the confidence to actually hold your trades and hold your runners. Okay, a lot of times we're down on that 1 minute or 3 minute or 5 minute time frame, scalping or day trading, and a lot of people just don't get to hold runners, and then sometimes those runners can turn into more profit. Sometimes the runners can actually run for days. I've had runners that have actually ran for weeks and into months, so 2 to 3 months. I think the longest one was like 3.5 months. So that's what you want. You want your runners to keep running. You can get into as many trades as you can, but ultimately if you have some runners that'll run for you and run a further distance, then that's better than having to jump back in. You've put a trade on last week and it's still on today, and it's still on next week and the next week. So that's why we leave the runners on the chance that, and the fact that we know that sometimes things will trend for days, and we want to capture more profits than just getting in and getting out. So here was the setup on it. There was news at 9:45, so I really took a chance on this entry because I got in at 9:45 was news, and I took a chance by getting in at 9:43. So that's my entry candle right there. So what I'm going to do is kick back replay mode now on the contracts I placed on this account today. We're 10 contracts in. And then on the other instruments, I closed out 8 contracts. I'm uploading all the videos at the same time, so they'll go up with this one. This one I chose to close off 6, okay, and close off 2, and then let the rest ride. So we're looking at the profit targets. We're looking at the targets on this tool right here. So we use a different tool than the position tool. In TradingView, the position tool gives you, you place it on the chart where you place the trade, you have a stop, and you have a reward level target. You can set that up whatever you want, 1 to 1, 2 to 1, whatever you want to set it at. So what I would do is get in a trade and it would hit the 1 to 1, and then I would have to go in and modify the position tool so that it extended out. And then when it was hit, I'd modify it again to extend out. Well, I got kind of tired on that, especially since I'm trading multiple instruments. So I used the Fibonacci tool. So this Fibonacci tool has been adjusted, tweaked, whatever you want to call it, to where we're using it now as our profit target tool. Okay. So the first level is 1 to 1. Here's your stop, here's your entry. Level 2, as it's called in this, because we don't get to change the label. It's 0 and then 1, 2, 3. So 0 is our stop, level 1 is actually our entry, level 2 is 1 to 1, level 3 is 2 to 1. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're closing partial when it hits profits. So let me go into replay. The setup as it was the 15-minute, the 1 hour and 4 hour over here as I'm looking during this pullback. So one thing I watched was a small trend up, breaking a high, which is right here. Okay, so it broke that high and gave a buy signal. I did not take it right then on that buy. I waited. I was waiting on it to pull back to test this level. Okay, but we had all 3 indicators on the bottom green. After it broke the high, it pulled up a little further. I thought I'd missed it. I thought, well, it's gone without me. A couple candles. I thought, I'm not chasing it. I'm not going to jump in. Waiting on that pullback. Or I'd have to wait for it to pull up and wait for it to pull back like this and dip and then buy in there. Well, the next candle then came and it pulled down. So, and the next one pulled up and was green. So with those two candles in play, I thought, well, that was pretty much a test of this high that it broke. So basically, with the 15-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour all green, we're looking to only buy on the day. So if everything's green down here, we're only looking to buy. We're not going to look to sell at all. Everything's green. We're going to buy. That should be our safest bet for the day, or at least while these are lined up. If they all switch to red, well, then we switch directions. We start looking for shorts. But they're all green. We're looking to buy. So we check it to buy. It gives us 50% reason to take trade because we're trading in the direction. I don't take 50% trades. If I did, I might as well just turn on the computer, see if everything's green or red, and buy and sell. Flip a coin, right? So we don't do that. We don't even like 60% trades on those pullbacks. So basically, it pulled back. Oh, sorry, guys, it is late. It pulled back, gave a green candle, and that's when I bought. So the buy signal came kind of early. Buy signal came over here. So it's still a valid buy signal. I'm getting in just a few minutes later. I'm on a 1 minute time frame. So we're looking at after the buy signal, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. I got in 5 minutes later. Okay. So, and if you look at the price I got in, it was a little bit higher than this, about where the wick ended. Okay. So that's a great area to buy in. I'm buying basically at the same area it signaled here. It just went up and pulled back for a while. So that was my buy. So let's go back and pull replay. Now I'll tick replay over till we get in, and then we'll kind of tick it fast till we get to, and this is a little off. I needed to, I guess I could restart it since I haven't ticked anything. All right, that candle right there. So that's when I bought, and I bought 10. All right, so set that up 10 to a buy. We're going to drag our stop down here. I was not going to go with my stop way down here. Okay, that's just too far. If you look at the risk, I'm risking 325 at that point. I'd feel comfortable with the stop anywhere from there to here. You know, maybe down to here, because you're keeping this consolidated area in the way of your stop. So that'd be up to about $500 risk. 325 is where I put it. Risk on there. I don't go off the number. I was looking at this high here that it had just broke. Because I'm like, well, if it goes back below that high and falls deeper, is it completely turned around? Okay. So we have 10 on, and we're going to tick it over. We're basically waiting, looking for it to go to that first take profit level. So it went pretty quick. I need to tick it one more. I actually had a limit order that closed out part of the trade for me. If you have a problem closing out the trade, I think I've said this in every video. If you have a problem closing out the trade, put limit orders on. Okay? In this case, it would be a sell limit order. A sell limit order, when it pulls up, it'll trigger a sell. You would put on a sell for like 8 or 6 contracts. It will close out 8 or 6 of this. So the reason why I recommend that is, I said this in the last video, we make these rules for reasons. We have rules for getting in trades. We have rules for where we take profit. We have rules for moving our stops. We have rules for closing partials. We have the rules wrote down, you know, on a sheet of paper. We have rules, you know, printed out here on our trade sheet for the targets. For moving, you know, if it hits level 1, what do? Did you move your stop? Yes, I did. What level did you move your stop to? Put in the price. So we have the rules wrote down on paper, stone, tattooed, you know, however you've got the rules wrote down for you, tattooed on your arm where you can be reminded. So don't ignore the rules. So if your rule is when it hits the take profit level, you're going to close partial, move your stop to the halfway point, then do it. Don't let it hit the take profit level and say, well, I know I said I'd close partial, but I just want more. And if it goes more, I don't want to miss out. Okay? Because it happens to everybody. Those are the things that goes through everybody's mind. It hits that level and you go, man, I don't know. I know I said I'd close here. However, if it just keeps going and going and going, I want extra profit. I don't want to lose out. The problem with doing that is this would be the time that maybe it turns and goes against you and you get completely stopped out on the whole thing and lose 325 or 500. Okay? So, yes, you might close out partial and it moves the rest of the way without you. And then you're regretting closing out early. And the problem with that is then next time you'll think it's the same setup, looks good, and you choose not to close partial and it turns and goes against you. Okay? So you can't really go back and forth. You got to pick and make these rules. Set up your rules, set up your plan, and stick to it. So let me tick over another one. And I closed on that candle, so I'm just going to close. The number's going to be a little different than mine. I don't want to wait it out because I closed on a pending order at the line. Let me go look at the... So when I closed partial, it was at that level, but it locked in 195. So our number's going to be off a little bit if I close 8 here, but that's okay. So we'll scale that down to 8, and we need to do a sell order for 8. Oh, no, it's actually higher. I'm looking, guys. It's right around the same number. I may not have triggered this at the right spot. So I'm trying to do it in replay as I did it live. It's a little different here. So now we closed out partial and we move our stop to the halfway point. Okay. Now we're only risking 32 on the remaining 2 contracts, and then we tick them over. So now we've got nothing to do but watch and just wait. And again, I dropped these down to a 1 minute because of time of day, because there was news. Now I could watch this on a 3. Okay. So that's one thing I had someone ask me the other day. Well, your charts are still on a 1. So I get in on a 1 typically around news because you can see the swings. I could see this pull up and pull back. If I was on a 3-minute chart, this would look completely different. And I might have missed this entry. It wouldn't have looked this good. So you're trying to decide on how to enter. And the candles don't look as good. You don't see the price action that's going on. So it's okay to drop down to a 1. Doesn't mean you're staying on the 1. Okay? Your indicators, your buy and sell signals still come up when these are in a line, and they stay. No matter what you change the chart to, these stay to a 15, 1 hour, and 4 hour. So it's okay to have it on a 1 to get in. You can always dial it out to a 3-minute and watch it on a 3. And right now what I would do, and you can't do this in replay. So when I set that trade on for 10 contracts, you immediately can go to take profit 1. And I knew I was going to close 6 and put a sell limit for 6. Come up to this, and then we would have 4 on still. Come up here to the second take profit level and put a sell order for 2. And you would have 2 runners on. So you're closing 6 here, 2 here, and then you could choose to close 1 at the next profit level and have 1 runner. I chose to just leave 2 till the end of the day, till 4 p.m. Okay? Is how I chose to let mine go. So again, you can have it on a 3-minute and tick over on a 3-minute chart. You don't have to stay on a 1. Tick them over here. So see how it pulls back? So we got our profit. It pulled back, dipped back. Looked like it was gonna, come down into this zone. But we didn't move our stop to break even. I think a lot of people are liking the fact that we can move it halfway. So there's no reason that you have to move it to break even right away. That's a real quick approach to stop management. And a lot of times you just get stopped out. You know, if I would have moved my stop to a little better and break even, I probably would have been stopped out by that wick. Okay. But instead, we're still in. Okay. So just move your stop to the halfway point. And then when it gives you room, when it moves to the next profit target level, well, at that point, move your stop. And it's okay to move your stop then. And I got to look at my sheet to see if I did that or not, because one of them I know I left my stop. No, this one I moved. Okay. So we moved to halfway, and there it hit this level. This is where I closed 2 off. Okay. What did I do, guys? I accidentally closed off 8. I'm sorry, guys. So when I put on 10, I meant to close off 6 here, and I closed off 8. So I'm just going to close off 1, because I don't want to close the whole thing off. That's my fault. So we're not going to get an accurate reading. I'll give you the numbers in the end of what I got on S&P. Because when I closed here, that's why my numbers are off. Because remember I said they were off when I closed here, because I closed 6 and got 195 on my partial. And this got 210 closing 8. So that's why they were off. So I closed 6 there, closed 2 here, didn't do it in the replay. Sorry about that. I'm not going to start this over. I still got one more to record. Hit level 2, and that's our hit level 3, sorry, and that's our 2-to-1 risk to reward level. So 2 times risk. So at that point, we're going to move our stop to break even. So it hit profit target 2. I moved my stop to 57.94, which is our entry. So 57.94. I'm going to keep it back a little bit just so we can see the price of the contracts. And I am going to close off 1, like I said, because I should only had 1 on. Should have closed the 6 here instead. I closed 8. So the number's a little different than what I have overall, or should be. All right, so at that point, our stops moved to break even. I don't think I can do this. Yeah, you can't right-click it and trigger it to not overlap. And then, again, for me, today, it was let it go. I was trailing 2 levels back, and then I decided I'm just going to let them go till 4 today. I had some other stuff I need to take care of. Oops, hang on, guys. I don't have my upper chart down. There we go. So there it hit that level. Again, so closed 6, closed 2, and then closed 1. And of course I messed that up. Closed 8, closed 1, and I can't close the other. But that's where I closed and then I had 1 left. 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. I had 9 closed out of 10 and had 1 left. Another buy signal is confirmation that it might go higher, because it dipped a little bit. That's why we were in the red. And it did. It shot up toward the next level. And I don't think I marked this chart with a 4 o'clock. Now there's a 1-hour sell signal, which means we might be getting a deeper pullback. So when that came up, if I'm looking at the charts, yeah, I'm thinking, okay, my ride's over. That's a precursor to maybe pulling deeper, maybe the 4-hour switching. So you have to know it just might happen. It doesn't mean it is, but it kind of gives you a heads up that it could be a possibility. That means the 1-hour switch to the opposite direction. So at that point, we're waiting on, I did mark the 4 o'clock. So there's 4 p.m. over there coming up. Now I'm going to tick these over one by one. And we're going to look at a couple things. I've done this on each of the videos. That's the candle. So that's the 4 o'clock candle. And that's when I closed, was at 4 o'clock. So unfortunately, I gave back some on that. I mean, let's say it took back some, right? So it took back some on that move, on that drop back. So looking overall, here's a couple things I want to look at. How was my stop managed? Was my stop managed well? I think it was. it moved up. We had a nice bullish move, okay? And I moved my stop to the halfway point when it hit 1 to 1. And then when it hit here, hit 2 to 1, I moved my stop to break even, okay? And I did not get taken out when it pulled back over here, all right? So we're looking at that as a whole. How was the stop management? Did that play out well today? Yes, it did. Did leaving my stop, okay, because remember, if I trailed my stop 1 or 2 back, if it come up here, I moved it to halfway. Came up here and hit here, I moved my stop to break even. That was 2 levels back. So if I kept that same thought process and plan for the rest of the day, when it hit this level, next level up, I'd close out partial and move my stop where? 2 levels back, level 2. I'd have been stopped out over here. So on my entire trade, the last runner would have been stopped out here. Instead, I closed it out here at 4. So I made a little bit more money. Not a lot. I made a little bit of more money on that. Okay, so overall good. If you trail 1 level back, you know, you move your stop to halfway when it hits here. When it hits here, you move your stop here. And then when it hits, if you want to get aggressive, you're moving your stop clear up to the next level. You're skipping a level. You'd be stopped out here. Okay, so you have to look at all those different things, scenarios, and what plays out better. So that's how I chose to do it today. If I close this out, it gives me 375. Now on, since I didn't do the replay right, so closing out partials was 195, and then the total on the runners was 447. Okay, so about 640. Well, let's just say 640. So 640 on ES. All right. So that's how you want to do the entries. Don't be afraid to dial down to 1 minute. I often do because, again, you're seeing this right here. If I was watching a 3, let me get to the right candle here. See how different it looks? So if you look side by side, and you could do that, you could pull up 2 different charts for ES, put one on a 3, one on a 1, go back and mark this entry or whatever entry and trade you take. Look at the 3, look at the 1. I like trading on a 3. So in the evenings, I'm typically just on a 3. I don't dial down. But news releases, I will dial down to 1 minute because you don't get to see the actual what this 3-minute candle's doing. You don't get to see that price action. All right. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll get this uploaded here in a few, and I will catch you later.